Hi, friends.
Hello.
I am Yolanda, and Giara and I can talk. I can. Giara and I are here at our Harper Therapy offices
In Lutz, Florida.
In Lutz, Florida. Thank you. Woo!
It's been a good day.
It's been a great day. I don't know what's happening. So I'm really excited about our topic today.
Yes.
Because spring is in the air.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a little spring forward, little time change. Boy, getting up that's what I'm going to say is going on with me.
Let's blame it on the time. Mm-hmm.
Time change.
Yeah.
I know. Right before the time change, it was very early, and I was like, why is there a spotlight coming through my window? Oh wait, that's the sun.
It's the sun.
And then this, past couple of days, it's like, why is it so dark?
The sun is sleeping.
The sun is
my little one.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. The sun is sleeping. But now, as we are entering into the spring season, and we think of rebirth, renewal, spring cleaning,
all of that
good stuff.
It's conducive to decluttering, to freshening up, to having a space for rebirth and renewal. And what better than to kind of translate that to our relationships as well?
It's that time of that time that a lot of us kind of pause and are a little bit more intentional about saying, I want to check the baseboards. Mm-hmm. Like in my normal day-to-day functioning, I'm not concerned about the baseboards, dust on the blinds.
Yeah.
But around this time of year, it's good for us to be intentional.
Yes.
Yeah, and especially in our relationships. So we wanted to share some tips today about spring cleaning.
There are some tips, really good tips from the Gottmans. So if you're new to our Facebook Live, the Gottmans are incredible researchers. They have studied couples since the 60s. But not only that, they are a really strong, cool couple. They've been together for decades.
They have, and they actually they are not only a couple, but they're a couple who works together. Yes. And so any couples that do that
and can survive,
and know what unique challenges come with that. Yeah.
So they have come up with spring cleaning your relationship and 5 tips, and I can go with 5. Like 1, 2, 3, 5, just one hand. Good. Mm-hmm. One of the first ones that they talk about is kind of revisiting your love maps. Mm-hmm. There's this incredible app on your phone that if you look for it, it's the Gottman Card Decks. Uh-huh. And they have a whole bunch of questions, open-ended questions, love map questions. The love maps are there to help you understand where you are now, who you are now, what are your fears and your dreams now, because they can change from the moment when you met until this moment.
For sure. And the idea of a love map is like, what is that path to your partner's heart?
Yes.
Right? That's kind of the concept behind a love map. It's good to revisit them on a fairly regular basis because things change, right? And that's what I love, as your partner, as you're transitioning to a different parenting stage, as your partner has a different job. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. When there's a death in the family and your partner or yourself have to take on responsibilities that you weren't used to having before, it's a good way to revisit that map, that GPS to your partner's heart.
Yeah. And what I love about the questions on the app are that they're questions that that kind of range from, that's a pretty, kind of benign, but it's so important to know, what is my partner's favorite song right now?
Yeah, because that changes a lot. A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Then the second one, after you kind of have that path towards your partner's heart, that love map, the second one is I've always said it, one of my favorites. It's sharing that 6-second kiss. And I've always told my couples, if you don't feel that you're at the point where you can hold that kiss for 6 seconds, just hold hands for 6 seconds, hug for 6 seconds. The idea is to have that moment of special intimacy with your partner to show them how important they are to you at the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, at the end of the day. When you set that up, you're setting yourself up for success. You're letting your partner know, I'm here emotionally and physically.
Yeah. And there's a release of endorphins that happens, right? When we connect physically like that. And again, it's an area that a lot of us in our relationships, we're not as intentional about. And it's too easy to slide into some complacency. And this romantic relationship is the only relationship. What makes it different from other relationships is that level of physical intimacy.
Yeah, the
it
ability,
starts with a 6 second
six
kiss.
second kiss. That ability to connect with somebody at another level.
Yeah.
The third one, I find it really nice. It's rediscovering your past. If you still live where you met, kind of going back to that place where you met the first time or where you went to the first date, or just sitting down and kind of remembering, do you remember that little place where we met for our first date? And reliving the emotions and everything that was going through your mind at that time. You would be surprised. Maybe your partner remembers what you were wearing. Maybe you remember the song that was playing in the background. Maybe you remember what coffee he or she asked for, or what meal you ordered, or how the car wouldn't start afterwards. So kind of going back, because when you rekindle that history, that shared history, then you have a clearer path to where the relationship is moving in the future.
Yeah.
Because you know the strength where it started.
Right. It allows you the opportunity to remember those things that brought you together to begin with, right? And to remind yourself of that positive perspective of our partner that kind of can get clouded in the day-to-day activities of life.
And remembering like what brought you together, like sitting on the kitchen floor, talking about things.
Yes.
Kind of those things are special.
Well, it's like taking a look at that window in the house and saying, let me clear off some of this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that one is really special because it doesn't require anything else but just being purposeful. Yes, and walking down memory lane. The other one is creating rituals of connection. And we spoke about this, I think, in November when we were creating family rituals. So now I'm bringing it back as a spring cleaning because spring is the start of new things. You can start new rituals, new habits. So you can decide, okay, Friday is going to be our movie night, or Tuesday is going to be a board game night, or just establishing something that is uniquely yours. We're going to get a babysitter on Wednesdays, and we're just going to go eat ice cream. Something, go paddleboarding. Yep.
So, and it allows you to kind of also be mindful of those new activities, those new ways of connection that you had in play, or those ways of connecting that you had in place that kind of fell off. You can revisit those things and tweak them a little bit. So I love them. And I love that idea because doing new things with your partner, again, releases those feel-good chemicals. It's really good for your relationship.
And it also gives you the opportunity of learning something new together, or learning how your partner is growing and how you are growing in different yet similar ways sometimes. Yeah.
Because we are going to be different people 20 years into our relationships, 10 years, 5 years into the relationship.
And you won't always have the hips to go dancing every Friday, so creating new rituals for that.
Awesome, I love that one.
And then the last one in our
number 5.
It's number 5, nurture appreciation. So the Gottmans talk about this emotional bank. We each have an emotional bank, and we either make deposits or make withdrawals. So in order for us to feed our partner's emotional bank and feed our emotional bank as well, being very thoughtful of what is it that our partner does for us and how do we show appreciation. So I wrote down a few things, like, for example, thank you for putting away the laundry. That's simple, but it shows appreciation. I'm so proud of what you're doing at work. And you've come so far. Your hugs make me feel safe. You make the best omelet or the best bowl of cereal in the world. Even those simple things. You rocked my world when we had sex today. Kind of having that voiced out, and for your partner to feel, oh wow, I feel appreciated. And when they kind of reciprocate that because their cup is full, you also feel like, okay, what I'm doing isn't going unseen.
It creates that culture, like you said. And what I love about this, and what's important to keep in mind, is that the Gottmans in their research have found, in the love bank, these experts at relationship So to have kind of a neutral love bank, 5-to-1 ratio, positive to negative.
5 positive things, 1 not so good.
The experts at relationship, 20-to-1. I had the chance to listen to John Gottman on a podcast with Dax Shepard, and he really touched on that statistic.
Yes.
And every time I hear it, I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. So 20-to-1.
It requires thoughtfulness, mindfulness, awareness, and kind of keeping your eyes open to even the little things that your partner does, nurturing that appreciation, letting them know that what they're doing isn't going unseen.
And we catch more flies with honey
than with vinegar.
Yeah. Awesome. Great tip. So there's our 5 tips
five
for spring cleaning your relationship. If you could use a little help in your relationship, dusting off some of the dust bunnies, give us a call. Giara is here to help. Otherwise, start putting some of these things. Choose one. Choose one. Start putting into the practice.
It will be awesome.
It'll be great.
Awesome.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye-bye.